Greetings, my name is Ben, aka Downsizeit, and today I'm going to give you guys the recap of Gen Con 2022 and the world's qualifiers for Armada, as well as my bonus bat rep that I had with Ken from Ion Radio. This will probably be a little bit of a longer video, so I'll be sure to put chapter links below if you guys want to skip ahead or save your place or whatever, basically for each of the battles that we can jump to them, because as you know I tend to get a little long-winded. First, I just want to go over to remind everyone about the giveaway. Don't forget to subscribe and comment in my July and August videos. Remember, I combine the months together, and I'll announce the winner on September 1st, who's going to win 10 of my Downsizeit dice from Baron of Dice and a set of Downsizeit command dials. These new command dials that Garrett has designed, and they look fantastic and they work really well. He actually had them for me at Gen Con, and I was able to actually utilize them, which was really cool. First, just a real recap of Gen Con. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed myself. Gen Con for me is unique, I think, than for maybe a lot of people, is that I go there to hang out with my friends from the Air Force Academy. We try to make it a yearly reunion. Obviously with COVID and sometimes with schedules it doesn't always happen. But when we get together as a group. We do lots of gaming all week. Every one of our days was filled up. Even Wednesday night we bring our own games and do our own gaming together. So there's never a dull moment. We go and eat at really nice restaurants and have really good food. Spare a little bit of time to wander the exhibitor hall. And me playing in Armada on Saturday, that was, I had no expectations of making the top 8 or being invited to Worlds. I was only playing because I was going to be there anyway and wanted to play some Armada. And I'm so glad I did, because I had a lot of fun and met a lot of great people. And from a Star Wars gaming perspective, and specifically though, I know other YouTubers have already commented on this, like Krabok. I was disappointed in that, but as a whole, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, and it was really great to see all the other games and the other exhibitors and stuff presenting. But Star Wars is kind of a lame duck. There was no product whatsoever for any of the games, whether it be Legion, X-Wing, or Armada. They weren't even selling anything there, which is, I think, a really bad business practice. Especially at Gen Con, because stuff flies off the shelves for all games and all vendors there. And they had nothing up for Armada whatsoever. They had, I think, one demo table each for Legion and X-Wing, and nothing for Armada. No demo table, not even models in a case or sitting on a table. Which, I have some unkind words I can say about that, because it's not that hard to market this game. All you have to do is just put models on a table, and people will just start coming up and ask you, hey, what is this? Because it happened to me multiple times, especially when Ken and I were playing Sunday morning just on our own table, and we kept getting stopped by so many people. One, people recognize us from our channels, but two, just people saying, hey, what is that? What are those? Is this a game? What is this? Is it Star Wars? It markets itself. You just have to put it out there. So I think AMG really dropped the ball, and it's really shocking to me, because I should have taken a video of this or pictures. The booth space that Asmodee rented was humongous. They had a massive open area space with Asmodee banners and walls. Asmodee owns AMG and other companies. But no product. They weren't selling anything. And again, no advertisement whatsoever of Armada. And they even have, like I said, they had one demo table each for Legion and X-Wing. But again, no glass cases showing off the models or anything. So really, there's plenty of Twilight Imperium there. They're definitely marketing that. Which is fine. I love Twilight Imperium. And this new Twilight game that's not Twilight Imperium, it's like Twilight Imperium Light. That's brand new that they are marketing, but nothing for the Star Wars games. Not showing anything off, and definitely nothing for Armada. But this huge space, wide open space, and and these spaces aren't cheap to rent. Most people have a small little cubicle, and they jam-pack as much as they can in there of their product, and they have barkers, they, promoting their stuff. But for Asmodee, wide open space, and pretty much nothing Star Wars, and 100% nothing for Armada, which is very disappointing because it's not that hard. All you have to do is take one core set, a table, and set it up, and have someone standing there, and just wait. And people will start asking questions. I mean, tens of thousands of people are wandering that hall, and they're going to see those models and be like, that's really cool, but nothing. So, do better, AMG. You've got to do better. It is not that hard. Alright, so enough of my the negative aspects. Other than that, everything else about Gen Con was fantastic. The tournament was really great. And also, now that's where we saw a lot of support. AMG was there for the tournament, and so at least when it came to the tournament, they put in some effort. So I'm very grateful from that perspective. And speaking of the tournament, let's get on to what you guys probably really want to know about, is the recap of my battles. So we'll be starting off with my first battle, which was against a gentleman named John, and not John from Iron Radio, another John, and he was playing Separatists, and he had Kraken. Now, I lost the bid, which is not surprising because I had 400. And, oh, real quick, this is one of the main reasons why I was really happy to be there, is because I was able to meet these guys. I met a lot of great people there, and also a shout out to Don from Gray Squadron Gaming. I believe it's Don. Was able to meet you, but was able to meet Krabik, John, and Ken from Ion Radio, and hang out with them for a little bit and talk with them throughout the day of the tournament. And Ken even more so on Sunday when we were playing together, and it was really awesome to meet them. So basically these guys were part of my influence for starting my own channel, as well as Tabletop Tactics on the 40K side of things. If you guys are familiar with that channel, they were heavily influenced my decision to start my own channel, and I took a lot of inspiration from the way all three of those channels actually do things. So yeah, so it was a great honor to be able to meet them, and hopefully I can do some more collaborations with them in the future at events, etc. Alright, so now to the battle. So, Fleet Ambush. I chose Fleet Ambush because, usually it can actually be in favor of the first player. But I failed to take into account several things. One, just so you know, the Munificent and the Providence were not there when I placed the Chimera there. I just want to make that clear. I would not willingly do that. But that was obviously a very good positioning on John's part. But one thing I critically did not take into account was MS-1 ion cannons, which were on both his Gazantes. And very much to my detriment, I chose... See that Gazanti right in front of the Chimera? I chose not to attack it. I tried to pop the Munificent. And I got close. I got him down to 3 health remaining. But he had thermal shields, and I didn't have him in a double arc, so it's kind of like the odds of me taking him out with my primary bomber squads plus a half dice Chimera was realistically low. I should have known better. And also initially, I kind of lost this in deployment, kind of like at Lone Star Open against the SSD. Once I realized, because I forgot that you can't play, I didn't read the card closely enough. You can't play squads. You have to wait to play squads last. So I did not have a deployment advantage. So what I should have done, I still would have done Fleet Ambush. Most definitely still done Fleet Ambush. But I should have deployed the Chimera back on the back right, kind of right in front of the Quasar, in between the station and the other debris field, to give myself more space to maneuver and choose my engagement better. I mean, I could even still do an Alpha Strike with the squads easy enough to start working on things. But anyway, that's neither here nor there now. But what I really should have done was just focus on that Gazanti and killed it, because the MS-1 ion cannons wrecked me. Because I did my attack against the Munificent, got him to 3 health remaining, not bad. But then he went with his Gazanti first, and because he has Kraken and everyone's within range, he could automatically set one of those blue dice to a crit, and he exhausted my electronic countermeasures. Well, now my brace is useless because one shot each of the big ships coming in is going to be able to guarantee an accuracy because of Kraken. And that happened. So I actually don't even think I was able to use my brace once because Kraken is only once per activation, I believe. And he, and one of the shots, I forget which one, from the Munificent or the Providence, did not get an accuracy, so I was able, even with rerolls and stuff, so I was able to actually brace by sheer chance. But it was not enough. I got the Chimera Thrawn got popped round one. And I was like, well, okay, that's fine. This is gonna be a fun day. Now I don't have to worry about making the top 8. I'm just gonna play and have a good time and not even worry about it with no expectations. Yeah, the thing is, if I would have killed, this was after my move, by the way, and then the Munificent's move, and him doing his shots. And you see he landed on the asteroid. So Munificent is actually almost dead just from his doing damage to himself from landing on the asteroid. I salvoed him back. So close. Almost got him with the salvo, but not. It was just an average. I couldn't. It was so close to killing him on the salvo. But and then this is where I get popped by the Providence. This shot here. Yeah, if I would have killed that Gazanti first, if I would have just blapped it, just went like, you know what, or even just sent my squads in to do it, killed him with my squads, and then still take my shot at the Munificent, just to start working on it, I would have lived, because I would have been able to brace twice, because I would have had the one guaranteed from electronic countermeasures, and in hindsight, one of his shots from the ships did not get accuracies that he couldn't crack because he had already cracked, so I would have been able to burn my brace, and the Chimera would have lived. For one more round at least. I don't know if I would have been able to escape the Providence. And my maneuver that I did, you can see my angle here, even though you can't tell because the Munificent's already moved, I still ended up being double arced by both ships, which again, you can't sustain that kind of damage coming in. And I think I could have maneuvered a little. I was trying to set up to where, like, I'm going to live, and then I'm going to, with fleet commands and my nav dial, jump up to 3 and be able to jump over Providence and just run away. But I never got to that point. You have to live before you can actually run away. So I probably could have maneuvered better going to the left, I think, to get out of the Munificent's double arc and stayed in the Providence double arc, and that would have reduced the incoming damage from the front arc of the Munificent. I probably would have lived as well, at least to round 2. But anyway, so this is right before I die. And this is when I die. Yeah, it was pretty. It was. I was kind of laughing. I was like, "Wow, this was a horrible decision on my part." Definitely should have deployed the Star Destroyer back on the right flank there. But I'm like, you know what? The game's not over. I don't know if the Quasar can escape, but I still have all my squads. And if I can get the Quasar to escape and kill a ship, I might actually come out on top of this. At the very least, if I can kill a ship, I can make it not just be a complete blowout. So, one of the lessons I learned this weekend, I shouldn't say learned, I've known this, but some good examples of this lesson is don't give up in your games. Even if you lose your best ship, don't give up. The game's not over. So I kept playing the game. My goal was to kill the Munificent and run with the Quasar to try to help even things out. But he did some good maneuvering and basically kind of was able to get he shot his Providence forward, so I couldn't. So I'm in a bad spot with the Quasar, as you see. But I am first player, and this is where I'm now surrounding the Munificent and taking it down with a squad command. And I believe it actually was the Quasar. No, my squads took it down. Yeah, my squads took it down, and I chose not to shoot at the Providence with the Quasar. Didn't want the salvos coming back at me. And so I was able to take the Munificent out. Then I was trying to take out a Gazanti to try to get even more points, which I do get this Gazanti that's up at the top, the middle of the field, before the Quasar died. And you can see I just was not able to maneuver well enough, because I tried turning. I could have turned to the left and ran away, but because of the angles, as you can see here, I would have still had my butt facing the Providence. It would have still been the same difference. So I was going to try to basically skirt around him and swing out in a wide arc to prevent him from killing me. with the Quasar, but you guys know Quasars are paper. So this is after I killed the Gazanti, and he's chasing me with his other Gazanti. He did like a slow speed 1 maneuver and then ran himself with his hard cell. He was taking a lot of damage from ramming and landing on things, but he didn't care because I wasn't shooting at him. But this, I was still at long range, and he rolled really well actually, and popped my Quasar before I could then eke out behind him. This was round 6, I believe, yeah, or round 5. So then round 6, I'm first player. I would have been able to probably get behind him and been able to escape. But so yeah, that was a pretty brutal loss at the start. Again, lost it in deployment, and then with my choice of first targets. But that was one thing where I have a massive respect now for basically what you can say is for a 2-point card. Massive respect for a 2-point card, because that was on a Gazanti, just a cheap little ship, and got hammered because he exhausted my key defensive mechanism which is electronic countermeasures. So yeah, pay attention to the cards your opponent has, even the cheap ones. They can ruin your day. And so I ended up losing at 2-9. It was 400 to 137. But I was still able to get 137. So 2-9 is better than a 110, but it's still pretty brutalizing, that kind of loss that I took there. But it was one of those where I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it now. I'm just gonna have a good time and just play all of my games. Like, I don't even have to worry about making the cut now, which is great because I was able to just enjoy myself the rest of the time. So let's move on to my game 2. So game 2, I'm just gonna get everything set up here. I'm gonna try to let's see, what did we play? Oh, yeah, that's right. Alright, so I played against a gentleman named Michael, and this was his first time playing in a tournament setting, and it was also his one of his first times playing real people, period, because he had been collecting the game, if I remember correctly. Who was his commander? I remember his commander was Empire. I don't think it was Screed. I'm putting Screed down for now, but I don't think it was Screed. I'll remember. One thing I forgot to do, guys, and I apologize, forgot to take pictures of people's lists so that I could actually go through a full list breakdown of everybody's. So I apologize for that. So I don't have a lot of the full details of people's lists. But I don't think it was Kraken. I think that's wrong. Let me see if I can remember who it was once I get my pictures up here. And probably would have been smart for me to try to figure this out before I start the game. Or start the live stream. Alright, so let's go and pull up the first screen here. So this is deployment. And I remember, it's Sloan. Sloan, that's right. It was Sloan. I remember now. He was doing Sloan. Because he was trying to do... I wanted to be very careful not to get drawn into the draining my defense token shenanigans. Alright, so yeah, so he had Sloan. He had a couple TIE Phantoms, actually. And Howlrunner and Mauler and a couple other TIE Fighters. This is his list. And so, again, I want to preface this that Michael was a new player. This is his first experience playing in competitive play, period. And one of his only times of playing people in real life. I think he said he's done some TTS. But his wife encouraged him to come. They live close. Just to come out and just have a good time. And so he had the bid, and he chose to be first player. So he chose from my missions, and excuse me. And and this is where you could say that Michael kind of lost with inexperience. He chose advanced gunnery, which I'm sure most people would. That's probably a mission you never want to pick. There are very rare circumstances where picking advanced gunnery is good for you, but here it was. You could almost say that it was the writing on the wall from mission selection. But I still have to be careful. I was started when he picked advanced gunnery in tournament. I was like, yes, but I was also like, oh no, man. But then I was also like, Ben, don't get cocky. That's gonna make you lose this game. So Still need to be very careful, but definitely utilize the fact that I can shoot twice with my Chimera at the same target at the same hull zone. So this is our deployment, and my plan for this game was to also be very careful with my squad play, because I want to be able to avoid the amount of token draining he can do to me, but I also don't want him to jump my squads. I want to be able to do the counter punch, so I'm trying to be very coy with my squadrons this game. So this is after the round 1 moves. We're now in round 2. As you can see, I've got my interceptors behind my ships. I've got my key players, Jendon, Merrick, and Vader, far enough back where they can't be engaged. I moved Black Squadron up, kind of just sort of as bait, that basically to where he could engage him if he wanted to, but but not too tempting of a target. And just waiting to see what he is planning to do and where he wants to go. So this is where he did his, I believe this was his first activation with the Gazanti. Squadron Command sent in Phantoms, and also you can barely see through the stem of the Quasar. That's actually Mauler. He couldn't get Mauler in range, so he just moved Mauler to be unengageable on a debris field. The Phantoms came up, and unfortunately the Phantoms rolled poorly. I think he got like a damage on one of them, and maybe he might have gotten a damage on each of them, but no accuracy, so wasn't able to spend out any defense tokens. And so this is when I decided, alright, well now it's time for me to go ahead and take some shots. So I went with my Quasar first, sent my interceptors in to get some kills. I killed a Phantom. Actually, I think I killed both Phantoms with my interceptors. Two interceptors per Phantom. It was very efficient. And then, this is also after that Chimera. So my Chimera, I was out of range of his ISD-2 and only at long range of his Venator, his Imperial Venator. So after I did my squad activations with Thrawn, and as you can see, I went and did some more engagements, more kills. I attacked Howlrunner, didn't quite kill her. I actually dropped to speed 0. So I used I think I was in an entrapment formation and a Navdal is how I did it, because I was out of danger and only taking 2 reds from the Venator, no big deal for next round. So this was then so now we're in round 3, and he went with his Gazanti verse, did some squad activations. So I actually ended up, I think I killed Howlrunner on a counter. She attacked one of my interceptors, and on a counter I killed her. I got an accuracy and a hit. Then my Quasar went, you can see it's moving around, skirting around the edge. I was able to finish off Mauler with my interceptors. And now I'm waiting for his big ships to come in before I jump up to speed. So this is after I was able to go with, he went with his Venator next, did a long range shot with me at speed 0, no big deal for me on my end. He then moved in and gets in a double arc, but the double arc doesn't matter, like I said, because I have advanced gunnery. Again, go with my Gazanti and just let it ram the Venator. I actually even took a double arc shot with the Gazanti just for the heck of it, just to put some plink damage on that Venator. Waiting for his ISD to come in. His ISD comes in, then I go with the Chimera, and it's now that his squads are completely wiped out and I have advanced gunnery, it's pretty much inevitable at this point. So I'm able to send my trio in to hit the Venator, plus my double shot from the front into the Venator, and I one-shot it. So Venator goes down. Then we're into round 4, and I'm sure you guys, this is pretty much an inevitable conclusion. He hits me now. See, he hits me actually pretty good with his Star Destroyer, and also he salvoed me with the Venator. So I actually have some damage on the hull now with my Star Destroyer. I think he got me to 5 hull, that I've taken 5 damage after he did his ISD shot. And then he tried doing some flakking, and his flakking was just ineffective. And I wasn't even able to kill any interceptors, so I actually lost no ships or even squads on this game. So then, again, I send my squads in, plus my advanced gunnery shots, and didn't quite one-shot the ISD-2. Almost did, but it is smoking, almost dead. He then takes another shot at me. I just decided to ram him, just keep us in our same spot. He then, next round, he then shoots at me again. And I think is able, because my shields are kind of, based the way the shots I was taking, he still was able to get some internal damage. I think I ended up with, I took 6 or 7 hull damage. So it, like, I was smoking on the Chimera, but again, it was inevitable. He only had 2 health left here, I think. And then was able to, then destroy his flagship on the following round with just the squadrons. I don't even think I needed to shoot. So I did feel a little bad because I know, again, his first tournament, competitive play and everything, but I think it was a good learning experience. So Michael, if you're watching, I just want to say, I hope you walked away from that as a good learning experience. Just you guys, it was 520 to 0 because I lost nothing, and I got double points for his ISD2 without upgrades. But advanced gunnery is usually something you don't want to pick. It's very, very, very rare that you would actually want to pick that as a first player, advanced gunnery. But but it's one of those where I know you lost all 3 of your games, but I hope they were good learning experiences, and I hope it doesn't discourage you to come back. I'm glad Ken and I were both able to talk to you the next day on Sunday, and I hope you're encouraged to actually try to find more people to play with, and to keep playing, and to keep learning, and develop your skills and everything. So, so I just want to make sure that you still stay with this game. It's an awesome game, and losing is the best teacher. Like I just talked about for my first game, that was a pretty brutal loss on my part that I received, but I learned a lot, and learned some mistakes that I'm never gonna make again. Well, I want to say I'll never make again, but that I hope I never make again. So anyway, Michael, that was it was a fun game, and it just from a selfish perspective, it's always fun to be able to play advanced gunnery as second player. So thank you for letting me do that. I don't get to do that often with my ISD2s, but yeah, just in the future, you probably don't want to select that. Most people, like, I put it in my list because I expect people just to skip it, and I really focus on what my yellow and blue missions are, because that's what people are probably going to be picking. So, alright, so let's move on to my third match. And at this point, since I got a 10-1 on that, I was like, oh, I might not be completely out of this. I'm sitting at 12 tournament points. I might be able to actually maybe squeak into the top 8, and so it all come down to my third match against a gentleman named Aaron, who is running Republic, Triple Venator, and Mercy Mission, what are they called? Consular. Just lost my mind there for a second. And, let's see, what was his commander? I'm trying to remember his commander again. He chose me to be first player. Yes. And I chose Rift Ambush. Just fixing up the round info, guys, so you guys can see it properly on the screen. So I picked Rift Ambush. That was the least bad. He had Surprise Attack. Surprise Attack I'm not usually scared of with Ron, but with his setup, Surprise Attack would have put me very close to his Triple Venator death ball that he had there, and I really did not want to run into. I didn't want to get. My main goal of this mission or this game, when I saw what he had, was I could not get trapped. I could not allow myself to get trapped at all. Oh, that's right. It was Luminara. In that Venator, because they all had Ven1s, they all had spots, and I can't survive that. I can barely survive getting trapped between 2 Venators, locking my Chimera down. So I had deployment advantage because I had squads, he had none. So once I saw how he was deployed, I had a choice: either deploy on the Rift side, which I was like, I don't want to mess with that, but that's Luminara on the far left, his Venator on the far left. So I was like, maybe I could isolate her. I was like, nah, I'm gonna play on the far right. Because both my plan for this match, regardless of which side I go to, was just to flank and just try to speed flank to the side of his formation and not allow him to hit me with all of his Venators at once. And if I get lucky, I might be able to snipe off that Mercy mission Consular. So, we begin our movement, and I jump up. I started at speed 3 and just did navs. So both my Quasar and Chimera are hauling butt at speed 3 and trying to swing as best I can. And he sees what I'm doing, so he's doing his best to do like a pivot. Like, so his Venator on the right slows down to 1, the Venator in the middle is at 2, and Luminar I think is at 2. I don't think it sped her up yet, but he's trying to pivot to try to keep me in front of him, which was, good play there on his part. Now this is where I made some bad decisions with my commands. So my ship commands, my Chimera for every match, and for every match that I play this is pretty much the same. The Thrawn dials are squad dials, and my ship commands for the Chimera go are usually navigate, then engineering is all the way through, and with a squadron probably at the end, depending on how I spend my Thrawn dials. Because usually I imagine by round 3 is when my Chimera is getting hit, and I need to start repping him up just to keep my main ship alive. So this one I did the same thing, but I should have known better, because see those dust fields? I should have known that I was going to be able to get around those dust fields by turn 3 and be able to block off Aaron from being able to shoot at me, because dust fields completely block line of sight. But I didn't. I stayed with my normal dial preparation, and I didn't even adjust it as I saw what was coming. So like by turn 4, I really needed a nav at round 3, and I really could have used one even more on round 4. But I just had engineerings planned. And as you'll see, he actually never shoots at me. The Chimera, because he never has a decent shot. Actually, he shoots once. This is the round where he takes one actually, I still think he's not in range. But one round he takes a pot shot at me with a spot, and I think it only does like 2 damage. It was a very poor... Well, I was able to brace, and so only did 2 net damage, and I just healed it up easily enough. But anyway, this is... I'm advancing. I'm trying to box in, because right now my plan is kill Mercy mission, and maybe be able to flank and snipe a Venator and then run away. So that was my plan. But the primary goal was just don't get trapped by these Venators and just get completely blacked. So now this picture you can say, well, this is not looking too good, Ben. You're right, it's not looking too good. But remember, I'm first player, so I'm able to choose who I'm going with first. And so I also have line of sight front to rear of the Mercy mission, and also not crossing his line. So I decided to go with the Chimera first. I send my squads in, and I think I actually got him with just squads. No, I actually did need to do my long range shot to actually finish him off, but I am able to kill Mercy mission, so I was able to get those extra points, which was very helpful. And yeah, this is where the squads are coming into attack, doing my shots into the rear of the Mercy mission. And then this was my movement. So this is round 3. So I was able to actually do this maneuver. This is on a... No, this is round 2. I'm sorry, this is round 2. So, yeah, so just as an example, guys, this is how fast I was able to get up the board. By round 2, I was able to swing around... No, round 3. I'm sorry, round 3. Gosh. Sorry, this was round 3. I was able to do this maneuver with a take evasive action, but with no nav. It was with an engineering. And this is where I should have realized when I did my planning for this round that I was going to need a nav later on. To plan a nav, get it underneath my dial so I could actually have it not for round 4 but for round 5. But anyway, I didn't. I should have done that just at the beginning. Should have known I'm going to be able to get around these dust fields. So he actually has no line of sight on my Chimera right now, because he'd be shooting through the dust clouds. So I'm actually safe. Still hauling ass at speed 3. And he decides to start doing some flacking. He had ordnance pods, by the way, on all of his Venators. So he actually he was able to do some pretty significant damage to my squadrons through ordnance pods. And so as you notice, like I decide not to engage with my interceptors because he has ordnance pods and because he has salvos. He had local fire control on all his Venators too, by the way. So he had double salvos everywhere. Which was nuts. Except for Luminar. I think Luminar had a double brace, but everybody else had doubles. No, Luminar had double salvo as well. That's right. So he had just double salvos everywhere, which was just nuts. And then with Luminara, you just can keep refreshing him based on how many times you get attacked. So again, no shots on. He took a pot shot. I think he was barely in range. Oh no, he chose not to shoot my Quasar. That's why. He actually chose to shoot at my Gazanti and got no accuracies, and so scatter. So then the next round, I go with my Quasar first because it was in danger. I swing it around the far side of the Chimera. He then goes with his Venator that you can see has the top off because it was going to be bumping into the plastic of my ship. He did more flakking before he moved. And actually, my main squad, Merrick, Jendon, and Vader, are not looking too hot. He's been doing really good with flakking. And when it comes to my Gazanti, he's just running his butt off trying to stay alive and not die. Fortunately, because one thing, he did not have any dice mitigation for rerolls. So he has not been able to get his accuracies when he's been shooting at my Gazanti. And at this point, I'm realizing, even with take evasive action, I don't have the turning power I need to be able to get to the flanking position I want. I really would have liked to have had, if I had a nav planned, the position I'm in now, this would have been the previous move a couple slides later, to be able to do an extra clip turn at 2, so I could be angled further down towards the down part of the screen right now. So I could set up a better, basically, raking maneuver to come in and shake out a Venator. So this is after my maneuver. I chose not to attack completing my squads at this point, which was a mistake. I should have decided to jump them out and go after Luminara right now, because I do eventually decide, because right now I'm winning like 61-0, and and it's just gonna be 6-5, and I'm thinking, you know what, 6-5-1 is not gonna do it to make the top 8, and this is gonna be my last game. So might as well go for it. So after I make the move is when I decide, you know what, I'm going to go after Luminara, because Luminara is the Venator at the bottom left. Why not? But of course, Tranquility's on there. So anyway, it's going to be a tough ask. So this is where I decided to go after her. So I only have long range shots. I'm never able to get a good medium range shot on her with the ISD, but my squads are doing good and Vader's rolling hot. But I'm also taking these salvos back. So my big 3 squads are really hurting bad. And then I also make a really dumb decision. I did not position my interceptors to assist in taking down Luminara. I didn't want to send them in right away because on flakking with ordnance pods, he could just blap all of my interceptors and gain more points that way. So I'm also trying to save points. But I don't position my interceptors well to help me in round 6, and that's going to be key to me not actually killing Luminara. So Luminara does her move. Now, just to let you know, I know it looks like a long distance, but I still have her after he does Luminara's move in long range. I'm still corner to corner, long range, front to rear. But you can see where I moved my interceptors behind the Chimera. I'm just trying to keep them away from flakking because I don't want them to die, instead of thinking about keeping them in activation range of the Quasar, as well as being able to move at their speed 5 to go attack Luminara round 6, which I really needed to have happen. So instead, and this is where I'm thinking about, do I really want, because Luminara is getting pretty close. She's getting really close to death. I've done a lot of damage. He did an engineering on his turn when he did this maneuver, and was able to heal a couple damage cards. But I'm like, I think I can do this. So I decide, you know what, I'm going to send my squads in. And Vader and Merrick are on 2 health remaining at this point. I send them in. Vader whiffs. Well, I say whiffs. He does 1 damage. He's been doing 3 damage all this entire game. I'm like, Vader's doing great. Oh, yeah. And then I'm like, Vader, I just need you to hit like that again. And he just comes in and rolls a 1. Even with the adept rerolls. So Luminara isn't quite dead. You can see the damage cards up there. I think it came out to, and this was after my shot, 2 health remaining. He did not have an engineering plan. This is end of round 5. So, but the problem is he's not going with Luminara, and moves Luminara there, and was with flakking and ordnance pods, kills Vader and Merrick. So that actually, so yeah. That, and I think he also got my Gazanti too. Yeah, he did kill my Gazanti. He was able to finally, it's not shown in this picture here, the Gazanti at the bottom of the screen, he was able to blab it with this Venator. and finally got the accuracy, which then puts him over, which gives him the win, 69-61. But the thing is, he has 2 health remaining, no shields anywhere on Luminara. But my interceptors are out of position because I was not planning it. I was not thinking smart of planning a couple turns ahead of where I needed them to be. I should have just placed them like on this debris field in the middle, safe from flakking, to then, because I had a squad command planned for the Quasar. And actually it was a Throndile squad command because I hadn't been using them because I wasn't attacking anything, so I had been saving them. So squad dial was up for the Throndile, but they're too far away. They're not in range to reach Luminara. So basically I would have had 4 interceptors if I would have placed them right. Actually, plus Black Squadron, because I had a token on the Quasar. So I would have had 5 chances to get 2 damage on blue dice on Luminara to kill her, which would have then probably put me at an 8-3, maybe even a 9-2, which might have put me on the cusp of making the top 8. But I didn't. I forgot to place them properly, and it ended up being an 8-point loss, which was fine. I felt kind of bad because this, as you can see, I'm going to go back to the beginning. So you can see, this was a big turning battle with not a lot of shooting that happened. We kind of flew around each other, and, it was kind of it wasn't boring because I had to be very careful where I placed myself and everything, but, Aaron didn't get to shoot a lot, so I felt kind of bad about that. We didn't actually get... I don't like games where you just we sit around and do nothing. That's kind of boring. Why do you even play Armada if you're going to play a game like that? You don't want to be stupid with your maneuvering, but you also want to have an enjoyable game with your opponent. But, I feel my tactic was sound. I had to play it this way, otherwise he would have easily tabled me by trapping me with his triple Venator. So I had to play the flanking game, but I wish I would have turned a little bit harder, had some nav dials planned so I could have actually made it more of a game, and instead of making it, just a tie, where just a very few things died. But from a strategic point of view, it was actually a very interesting game because I was trying to be very smart about my battle so that I didn't get trapped by those Venators and lose the Chimera right away, and then, of course, my Quasar just goes down easily. In the moment, though, I felt kind of bad because it really was one of those... Because I was first player, I kept maneuvering where he never had a shot with his spots or getting behind the dust clouds or whatever. The only thing he could ever shoot at was my Gazanti, and he wasn't getting accuracy, so it was kind of one of those... It was a weird game, like how that happened. But how it ended was that I was guaranteed not to make the top 8. I was a little upset that because I made that decision to go in with Vader and Vader and Merrick to try to kill Luminara, and then he killed them in the Gazanti and got the win, it pushed me out of the top 16. I got 17th out of 16. And the top 16 got these really nice foil special alt art cards. They're the foil kind with like the holographic or whatever, which was really cool, and I wasn't able to get those. I think I got 7th or 8th best Imperial player. Or was it 6th? 6th, 7th, or 8th best Imperial player. They did best in faction stuff, which I was able to get an alt art Architon's command ship, as well as an alt art Morna Key, which is really cool. So, that was neat, because there was a lot of Imperial players there. There is more Imperial players there than anybody. As usual, Imperial is the easiest faction to play, and very strong. But, so I think because I'm thinking they had 16 best of faction cards to give away for the Empire and the Rebels. And Separatists and Republic, they didn't have anything, but they had them come over. I should have asked Garrett. I think they're going to be doing some alt art cards for the top and faction for Republic and Separatists. They just didn't have them available because they had those guys come to the side and they talked to them afterwards, maybe for like contact information to ship them things. I don't know, but I think there were. I'm trying to do my math. I think there were 13 Imperial players because I think that there are only 3 cards left out of the 16 to get for the prizes for the top in faction, and I think I got 6 in faction. I think that's when I went up and got mine. I can't remember, but even if it was 8 out, so pretty happy that did pretty well for the Imperial players. But it was actually for the entire tournament as a whole. It was Rebels. It was the 3 of those Starhawks, man. Those annoying Starhawk lists that are just farm boats which, I'm not gonna have any comments on that right now. Maybe on a later video I'll talk about my feelings about that list and that style of play. But yeah, Republic was up there, Separatists up there, we had Gar up there, only a couple Empire, and only one honor list that actually made the top 8. So I think I think it was just one honor list. So it was actually a pretty interesting spread, except for the Starhawks. The 3 Starhawks were just kind of like, well, you get that matchup, you're like, well, okay, whatever. But anyway, knowing for sure, it actually worked out really well that I didn't make the top 8. I'm actually glad I didn't, because it meant that I got to play Ken from Ion Radio, which was so exciting. Glad to actually make that happen. So I'm sure this is the one you guys have been waiting to hear me talk about. So let me get this set up, the pictures, and so we can talk about this. Okay, so here we go. The first channel versus channel bat rep between Ion Radio and Downsizeit. Was able to meet up with Ken Sunday morning after I had, I decided to wander the convention hall a little bit because he was actually playing with someone else he was able to get a game in with then. So basically, while everybody was playing, the top 8 guys were playing the tournament, I was able to get a game in with Ken. And unfortunately, I didn't bring any of my filming equipment because I didn't want to be lugging that around. And he did have a camera there, but it ran out of batteries, so we just could only take pictures, unfortunately. But hopefully we talked about maybe, well, anyway, I don't want to say anything just in case it doesn't happen, but we're going to try to maybe make some actually inter-channel bat reps happen at some point in the future. Maybe sometime next year. We'll see if we can make it happen. But anyway, this is what we have right now. So I get to talk about it from my perspective through screenshots, and he took a lot of pictures too. So who knows, maybe Ken will do a recap on Ion Radio from his perspective of our battle. But for the moment, you're going to hear it from my end. So he actually had General Kraken. So we had Classic Empire versus Rebels. Speed Rebels, because you want to go fast with Kraken to get that obstruction. And he had the bid. Yep, he had the bid. So he chose to be first and chose superior positions. So this was our initial setup. And so I got to see where he placed everything first, of course, and because it was superior positions. And then this is how I deployed to counter. Again, trying to think about working on the flanks and also trying not to let myself get surrounded. Because he was running MSU, I wanted to be careful that he couldn't easily get behind me. One, just because that reduces a lot of my firepower from my Star Destroyer, but also superior positions. I don't want him taking shots in my back. And I also need to be careful about the squad play. So let me try to, I remember sort of some of his ships. I'm going to try to kind of walk you guys through what he has. So he had a CR-90, which had Kraken on it. His 2 GR-75s, one was the Drunken Party Bus. It was Bright Hope, Toran Far, and Boosted Comms. The other GR-75 was Boosted Comms. They were his squad pushers. He had, I believe it was 4 X-Wings and a Hera and Biggs. And he had mentioned a couple of times that he really needs Jan in that ball. But that's for like a future build he's going to do. But currently he has no Jan. It's just all X-Wings. And then Hera and Biggs. And then he had 2 MC-30s. And you guys know, he had the torpedo version, so with the blue dice and black dice. One had Major Derlin. The other one had Lando. I hate Lando with a passion, and it happened again this game. And Ordnance Experts and X-Rax. He also had advanced projectors on both of them, so he can move shields wherever he wanted with his redirects. So, tough to kill MC-30s, especially if they're at speed. So, there's Ken there. We took a lot of pictures on this, and we both took a lot of pictures. We only got around, like, he did one ship move, and then someone came over to start talking to us, because they recognized us from our channels. So we were talking and everything, and then I did one move, my first move of the first round, and then someone else came up. We did some chat, and so I think it took us almost 30 minutes for either of us just to do the first move of the first round, which was kind of funny. But it was also cool. It's like I was talking about at the very beginning of the video, how easy it will be for AMG to actually market this. Just put ships on a table, and people will come up and ask about it. It's not that hard. It markets itself. You just have to try a little bit. But anyway, all right, enough of that. But anyway, it was really cool to chat with people coming by. We had a lot of people come by, talking to us about our channels, and also just talking to us about the game, because they saw a Star Destroyer on the table, and like a CR-90 on the table. Like, ooh, is that Star Wars? They recognize the stuff, and we're just wondering what this game was, and asking questions. So it was really cool to be able to also be, you could say, evangelist, Ken and I, for the game, for people wandering around at the convention. So very happy that we were able to do that. But it was just kind of funny that it took us 30 minutes for either of us to do our first move on round 1. So anyway, at this one, so as you can see, I'm bringing my Quasar behind. I was trying to set it up to where I can't let my Quasar get nailed by his MC-30s, at least not right away or easily. Again, trying to be careful with my ISD and choose my engagements, especially with the X-Wings. As you can see where my squads are positioned here, I've got that debris field between us, and since X-Wings can only go speed 3, he actually can't engage me right now. So I really want to make sure that, again, I want to make sure I can do the counter punch against his X-Wing ball, instead of actually getting tagged first and losing some of my squads. So again, there's going to be a lot more photos in this of different angles of the same rounds. This is the end of round 1. So we're getting ready to go to round 2 as we are planning here. So Ken decided to go with a GR-75 start of round 2 and sent squads in. So as you can, well, actually, I probably should tell you my maneuvers. So end of round 1, start of round 2 after my first move. So I move the ISD, my Chimera. I had take evasive action plus a nav dial, so I did a speed 2 double click on both to do basically a 90-degree turn. And to basically set myself up to put my front arc into both of his MC-30s and set up for round 3. And he, so no squad commands. I did not do any Thrawn squad dials in round 2 because I wasn't ready to engage yet. But he decides now to start sending in some X-Wings that might be in range to do some bombing. And he was only able to get 1 in range, and actually got a double. So, by the way, I was able to get some of the full Ion Radio experience with Ken's rolls and also his damage deck drawing. But this was at the end of round 2. As you can see, 1 X-Wing was able to come in, did a bombing on me. And this is where I'm now deciding what do I want to do first. And so just so you know, one of his MC-80s, the one at the top of the screen, is barely we measured it. There was a little bit of a dip in the table, but we did measure it and decided that he was barely within close range. So I was in danger, because one of my thoughts was, I can do entrapment, and with my nav dial can make it drop down to speed 0. Because I have no problem taking a couple blue dice each from those. I can soak that without defense tokens, no problem. And I would have done that if that MC-30 at the top, which is Lando, by the way, was not in close range. But since he is in close range, I'm not going to let him do just a full broadside into me without defense tokens. That will be a big mistake. But my decision I make next is also kind of a big mistake. It turned out to be... but anyway, I was thinking... And again, it's one of those I should know better because Lando never works out for me when I'm attacking him. I decide to go with my Chimera first and try to blap Lando. So you can see where his X-Wings are positioned. He's not in a good covering position to protect Lando at the top. And I do have him double arced, medium range out the side and close range out the front. So I'm just thinking, maybe I can do enough damage to actually drop Lando in a one-shot. And so I go for it. So my first activation for this is round 3, was the Chimera. It's a navigate and then the Thrawn dial squad command. So I send my squads in. Well, okay, not yet. Sorry. Different angles. Like I said, we took a lot. We both took a lot of pictures for each round on this for different angles. Just for cinematic purposes. And so I'm Let me just get through some of these. I just see there's Ken taking his pictures too. It was at this point when we were playing this, like, man, I really wish I would have brought my camera and my tripod. But then I was also thinking, and my mics, but it's like, well, did I really want to haul that around the entire convention and be worried about them maybe getting stolen? I mean, that's a $1,000 camera that I have. Maybe in the future, I'll think about doing that for another convention or another event like that to film a proper bat rep. But anyway. Alright, so this is where I'm sending my stuff in. So I sent my squads in. You can see Vader and Merrick. I'm going to put them on the asteroid field, but lipping over just a little bit, and also trying to keep them back just enough to where the X-Wings couldn't easily engage them. I sent Black Squadron in 2 right to the middle of the X-Wing ball to lock them down. Sent them here to die, but try to stop maybe 1 or 2 X-Wings before he could come in and bomb me. And you can notice there, because he has those really cool ion radio defense token trays. This was just the squadrons, I believe. Yes, this was before I actually did my shots. He was fully exhausted on everything just from the squad hits. So now I'm ready to take my shot. So I do my side, and this might have actually also been after my side shot. So, okay, so I need to move this back. So so this is before I did my move. So I did my side shot. Actually, pretty decent hit. And by the way, his evade rerolls were killing me. I don't know. His evades were great. He was turning my doubles into nothing, and it was or into 1 or something. But when I took my front shot, then that's when I actually got a really good hit. I got 1 accuracy, which was useless. It's like, okay. But he had burned one of his redirects from my side shot, so we only had 1 redirect left, 2 evades. He then Landos my entire dice pool except for the accuracy and drops the damage by like 4. So it wasn't a killer drop. I think I had done 9 damage on my initial shot. Then he Landoed it to 4. So, I mean, I lost 5 points of damage. But Lando still had no hull damage, so he was able to... Because then he burned an evade. Because I still had a double and like a crit. Rerolled those, both blanks. Oh my god, so now it's down only to 2 damage. He then burns his redirect to take it on his last shields. So he now only has 1 evade left. No shields left anywhere. But no hull damage. And I'm just like, Lando, I hate you! And the double evade as well. Oh, man, it was so frustrating. But it happens every time to me. Every time I shoot at Lando. But, you know, when I play Rebels and I take Lando and I tell somebody to re-roll their dice, they actually usually roll better. But anyway. So this was my move. And it's one of those, and this was killer. Because now I'm double arced by... So, I need to tell a story here. Because Lando did eventually die. But here, so... You can see where Lando would have been. I don't think Lando's there in that picture. No, yeah, he's already dead. So, I did my move. I was avoiding the debris field, trying the best I can. So, let me tell you about Lando's attacks. So, those dice you see there, those are actually Major Durlin's attacks. But first, Lando attacked me. He hit me with his front arc first. He has an exhausted evade left. And gets a hit crit, a hit, and like a hit or something. So, I'm like, well... Alright, well that's off to a good start. He was, of course, double arcing me. I flew right to a double arc, which is but I don't. There was no way I could have avoided it, I don't think. And I could have probably slowed down to speed 1 and not gotten in close range of Durlin. That's probably what I should have done, is slowed down to 1. I'm trying to remember. I don't think even going to speed 1 would have saved me from being in close range of Durlin. I just don't think there was anything I could do. But... so then, now here's where it gets really ridiculous. The side shot he took with Lando. So 3 black, 2 blues. Right off the bat, all the blacks are hits, and one of them is hit crit. The blue dice are, I think he gets 1 accuracy, 1 crit. It actually doesn't matter because I haven't used my ECM yet. So I'm going to be able to brace. He then X-Rags. Both the black dice become hits. He then Con fires. Black dice becomes a hit. He then chooses, which, if this was me doing it, all my black dice are at least hits, I have 1 hit crit, I'm good. Nope, not Ken. Ornus Experts, 2 of his black hits rolls into a hit crit and a hit. then Confire tokens one of his black die hits and rolls it into a hit crit. I'm just like, what is going on? And when he started doing those re-rolls, I was like, oh, gonna risk it, I see. But, I had forgotten that Ken rolls black dice really well, apparently. And, which, even with me bracing that was brutal. I think I took, 11 damage. Or maybe it was 13 or so. It was ridiculous, right? The brace was, to 6 or 7. It's like, oh my god. What is going on? And so it goes internal. I mean, even from the front shot I took, I had to take some shield damage, and the side shot it does go a little, and then the side shot just brutalizing me goes internal, because he double arced into the front, and based on how the redirects happened, it was just a lot went internal. I couldn't put it on shields that I had somewhere, but anyway. After his front shot, I salvo him, and I actually would have killed him. I had a double and 2 hits, but he still had that exhausted evade. So all things being equal, I would have killed him on the first salvo, and that side shot never would have happened. But what happens? He burns his evade, tells me to reroll the double, and a crit I have there. They both roll into blanks. I do 1 damage. Are you kidding me? Again? Are you kidding me? But then on the side shot, that's why he's not there, is because on the side shot, I burned my salvo and was able to kill him. He actually accuracy'd my salvo, and not my brace. So I actually spent everything: brace, redirect, contain, and I used my ECM on my salvo, and I was able then to kill Lando on the second salvo after burning it. But he did it. He did his job. He did his 13-point hit or whatever. I think it was 13 points of damage that I was able to brace down. But still, but then here comes Durlin. Well, not Durlin yet. So yes, this is actually before the Quasar goes. So you can actually see this is actually the dice roll he had of the side shot. You can see the hit crits lined up. I should have taken a better picture of the dice, so you could have seen the full actual hit that happened. So my Quasar, I was kind of slow rolling it. So this is after Major Durlin did his shot, and he's moved with both the CR90 and his MC30. Both my Gazanti and Quasar are both only going speed 1 currently, so they just kind of inched forward. His CR90, he did take a pot shot at my Gazanti, didn't get any accuracy, so I was able to scatter for no damage. So I did some. Where's the squad attack? There you go. Okay, let me go back here. So something else that happened. I did land on his 2 X-wings when I did this maneuver. As you can see, they're now on the back of the ship. The 2 X-wings sitting back there. So I was able on my Quasar's attacks. You can now see then my interceptor is there on the back of the ISD-2. First interceptor goes in, does 5 damage. Woohoo! X-wings or 4 damage. X-wings on 1 health remaining. Send in the second interceptor, whiffs, even with the swarm reroll. I was like, are you kidding? Okay. And then third interceptor goes in, I attack the other X-wing that's on full health, get 4 damage. Then I think it was 4. And then I send my last interceptor in to kill one of the X-wings. So the X-wing sitting there in the back is on 1 health because one of my interceptors whiffed, which is fine. I'll just let him die on a counter. So that's how we're sitting on the squad play. When he did his remaining squad activations, you can notice that his X-wings are kind of in different positions here. He wasn't able to kill Black Squad right away. He whiffed too, even with Torn Far and Hera. Black Squadron survived a couple hits, so didn't die right away. But and you'll notice that my IC is not quite dead yet, but he will be. He will be dead because Ken is first player. So his Major Durlin MC30 you see right here is still in close range of the ISD. And I made a mistake. How do you know these things? I don't know. I had planned an engineering dial on my Gazanti to comset over to the ISD. But in hindsight, I should have planned a nav, so I could have sped up to speed 2 and made this shot for round 4 obstructed from the MC30 into my ISD. It wouldn't have made a difference because Ken Rolled super hot. You can see there's the damage on my ISD going into at the end of round 3. Just absolutely brutal. No defense tokens left except for an exhausted brace. Because the major drilling shot, I didn't have ECMs anymore, and he was able to lock down my brace. So I just took the full firepower of that, and that's what did the majority of this whole damage, which was nasty. It would have been worse if I didn't burn my redirect to put it on shields. But yeah, so the IC is going down because he's first player. He's obviously going to do his MC30 first. There's nothing I can do about it. He only needs 2 damage. He's getting 3 black, 2 blue. I mean, I'm dead. I'm dead. There's just no way. And as you can see, I am dead. And it wasn't even close. It was overwhelming damage from this MC30. Now, one thing you guys might be asking, Ben, did you remember your PDICs? No, I did not remember my PDICs. Of course I forgot my PDICs. And one of the reasons why I forgot is I didn't use them at all in the entire tournament the day before. I was never shot at, well, except once against, what's his name, Michael. He got a close range shot on me, but I will say the PDICs didn't matter at that point because I was going to win anyway and not die. But I forgot about him on both the Lando shot and the Major Derlin shots. But one thing that we did is we went back and we did it. What if I would have actually remembered the PDICs on all those hits? And it actually would not have made a difference because Ken's 3rd shot here that killed me on the next round was so overwhelming that even with, and I did PDIC reroll that one, and it didn't matter. I rerolled him. He rerolled it into a hit instead of a hit crit, not a blank. But we went back and rolled and just to test out the rolls to see what had happened, and the Chimera still would have died by several points of damage, even with PDICs. His torpedo frigate shots were just so brutalizing and overwhelming. There was just, even with PDICs, nothing could have been done. But, so, as I said from my first game, the game's not over. It's round 4. Yes, I just lost my big ship, but it's superior positions, and the game's not over, and my Quasar's in a good spot because the MC30's already killed my, decided to shoot at the ISD, which is, of course, what you want to shoot at, and I still have my squads, all my squads except Black Squad, so I can still do a lot of damage, and I still can score a lot of points from superior positions. So the game's not over. Don't give up. Keep playing, even though you lose your big ship. So Quasar goes, squad command. I send interceptors in, and I actually kill Hera with just 2 interceptors. They roll insanely good. Because Hera's not an escort, so she doesn't get the Biggs benefit, and I was able to tag her in a position where I was not engaged with any escorts. And then, and they rolled super hot. So yeah, I was able to kill her with just 2 interceptors. And then I was able to send some more interceptors in to start working on some just basic X-Wings. That's what you see here. And then, he still was not able to get accuracies on my Gazanti with his CR90, so the Gazanti lived. And as you can see here, this is me positioning in the squad phase at the end of round 4. I believe it was end of round 4. Merrick, Vader, and Jendon, because my goal is to not only kill another ship, but also get rear shots to start getting victory tokens. So that is my ultimate goal here, is to start getting victory tokens. And I had already gotten a couple because I believe because he had advanced projectors anyway, when I did my initial shots on Lando, the squad attacks were actually into his rear, not to his side, so I could actually get victory tokens. So I'd already gotten a couple. So, oh, did I not take a picture of... Oh no, am I missing pictures? Crap. Surely not. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, I know what happened. Hang on, guys. Let me get the rest of this. I guess there's a maximum limit to number of screenshots I can have here. Let me... Sorry about this, guys. For some reason, my OBS is screwing up a little bit. I know I took more screenshots. Right, where are we at? That one. Nope, that one. Sorry guys. This is just some technical difficulties from OBS. I thought all my screenshots had loaded. Apparently I did not get them loaded. So I will do that now. Alright, so just another angle of what I was talking about earlier, positioning myself for the end game to kill some more ships. So now I'm going in after Kraken. So squad command, through relay with Jendon, I was able to get my big guys. I was able to kill the last 2 X-Wings. Biggs is the only one alive. He's the X-Wing you're seeing there in the middle of the screen. But he only has 1 health remaining currently, and is locked down by a couple of interceptors. And Ken was actually able to kill 2 interceptors for real. He killed 2. I brought them back reserve hangar deck, and he was able to kill 2 again. So I actually have Black Squadron and 2 interceptors off the board. So now I'm coming in with Merrick, Jen, and Invader. I get 3 victory tokens for doing damage into the back of... Well, actually, no. 1, he was able to evade to nothing, so I only got 2 victory tokens. But not quite killing Kraken, but I was able to actually get, I think, 2 damage on his hull. Or maybe 1, I think that's what that damage card at the top is. And then, so this is round 6. So, round 6, so this is where, if Ken does his review, I wonder if he'll mention this, if he thought this was maybe a mistake on his part. So start of round 2, remember, Ken's first player. He chooses to go with Bright Hope, which is actually at the bottom of the screen with the squad token, and activates Biggs to try to kill another one of my interceptors. There's one that's on 2 health. He rolls, he only gets 1 damage, he's not in range of Torn Far, and I counter back and kill Biggs. So the issue with that is by doing so, he did not move Kraken and get Kraken out of the way, and basically left him exposed. So my Gazanti has a squad command queued up plus a squad token, and I use that because my Quasar's out of range for my big 3. So I use that to activate Jendon, Merrick, and Vader. And they, I guess I don't have the screenshot of them actually attacking Kraken. But Kraken's here. They move over to the rear of Kraken. I get 3 more victory tokens by attacking the rear of Kraken. And it actually is exactly what I need. So I was able to, because Kraken, he had 0 shields on the front, but I went to the rear for the victory tokens. And so I got the victory tokens, and then I was able to get a crit through for the final damage, and it turned out to be a structural, which ended up killing, which was actually kind of funny. The running joke with Ken on Iron Radio, he always draws structurals. And the structural was exactly what I needed to kill Kraken, so I actually got the structural to kill him, which was kind of funny, which actually allowed me to move. I actually sent one interceptor up to go attack the MC-30. You can see they're at the very end from the Quasar's activation, to try to get another victory token. And I think I whiffed. I think I rolled an accuracy. It wasn't a hit, so I didn't get a victory token. So that's what it came down to. So it was going to points. So I lost my Chimera, which is like 193 points, I think it was. But it turned out that by killing Kraken and Lando plus all the victory tokens I got, I was able to actually eke out the win. And the total was 362 to 237 my way, which I think is a 7-4. So the inaugural Downsize It channel versus Iron Radio channel, Ben versus Ken, goes to Downsize It channel for the first one, but it was a close game. Very close game. Ken had it early by dropping my Chimera round 3, but don't ever give up playing, guys. Even if you lose your main ship, the game's not over. Keep playing it out and see what you can do. And I was able to actually pull out the win through victory tokens and killing his squads. Able to get his commander Kraken. So it all adds up. Don't ever give up in a game. So it was such a pleasure to play. And to meet everybody there, to meet people that follow the channel. Thank you so much, guys, for all the kind words you said, and y'all are the reason why I do this. So you're the reason why I do this channel and do these bat reps and all this stuff. And so I appreciate all you guys do. And again, really awesome to be able to meet Krabik and Ken and John, and even more so, really awesome to be able to play Ken. And hopefully we can continue this, back and forth between inter-channel bat reps. and hopefully I'll be able to play John next. Was not able to play John because he was playing in the tournament. Actually won the tournament, so congratulations to John. But hopefully I can set up to where I actually play John next and see what I can do there. So, but for now, the tally is between Downsizeit and Iron Radio. Downsizeit 1, Iron Radio 0. So the challenge is open. So whenever we can make things happen when we're together to play bat reps, we're going to make it happen and see if we can keep this running tally going between the two different channels. So thank you, Ken. That was a really enjoyable battle. Very high-level strategic game. There is a lot of thinking going on both of our sides. Very close game. I love the close battles. So Gen Con was fun. Really enjoyed it. The only downside, like I said, I've mentioned it before, and I'll just say it again. Just if by some miracle someone is watching from AMG, you guys need to do better with Armada. You've got to do better. You did great with supporting the tournament, but just get a core set, guys. When you go to these conventions, put a table out and put models on the table, and it will sell itself. Come on, let's put in some effort, please. Just a little bit of effort is all it takes. And it's not even a lot, because like I said, it sells itself. Ken and I were sitting at that table, and we couldn't even get through our first moves in round 1 because people kept stopping us and asking us questions about the game just because the models were sitting on the table. We weren't evangelizing. We weren't carnival barking. It just happened. It's very easy to sell this game. Please do better. Please make more of an effort to market and promote this game. But we can't rely on AMG to do it for us. I'm going to do it. We need the community to do it. Ion Radio's doing it. Krabik's doing it. All of you guys, we're going to keep this game alive. We're going to market this game. We're going to promote this game through our local tournaments, through talking to our friends, to talking on Discords. So, we cannot rely on the big corporate people to do it for us. We're going to do it ourselves. And I'm going to keep doing it myself as well. So, Armada is not dead. Like you saw in Krabik's shirt, it is not, as long as we as the community keep it alive. And that's what I love about this community, is that we are keeping it alive. So, I'm going to keep doing my thing here on my channel with Social General Rob and the others that also help out on the channel. And you guys keep doing what you do in your local communities to keep this game alive and thriving and growing. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and comment for the giveaway. And until next time, take it easy.